It's lights out and we're racing in MotoGP here in France, firing away on those slick tyres. His pole starter Fabio Quartararo. Fernando has made a blistering start as well on the podium yesterday in the sprint, but it's Marc Marquez though that will lead on the outside. He goes, toughing it out on the brakes with Quartararo into the Dunlop chicane, but it's Marc Marquez that leads on those slicks.
That's Bagnaia on the floor, knocked down by one of the KTMs into the Dunlop chicane. Bagnaia was already plummeting backwards on his wets, and he's now been taken down.
Well, that's the second time this weekend he's crashed out of race action at turn 3. One of the factory Hondas got a real clattering in there as well. It was Joan Mir, unfortunately. Yeah, Joan Mir it was, unfortunately, that looked like he came out the worst of that one. It's a real pinch point, that Dunlop chicane, isn't it?
When it rains, it pours, right? Nothing seems to be going well for Pecco at the moment. I think it was Binder that got in the side. No, Miller that got in the side of Binder as well in turn 1. If they show a replay, look out for that.
Yeah, Bastianini on the factory KTM has rejoined the race. At the front there, it's Quartararo that leads, just as he did in the sprint here yesterday. I think Alex Marquez there. Just indicating to Fernando. There's confirmation. Pecco Bagnaia then did crash, as we knew he had done up in the Dunlop chicane.
So the first rider on wets was Jack Miller. He's taken the line. Here's your confirmation on screen. There are about 10 riders. The riders who started all that from pit lane are Marquez Agura, Alex Marquez, Aldeguer, Di Gianantonio, Acosta, Mir, Binder, Raul Fernandez, Bastianini, Morbidelli, Quartararo the leader, and Vinales. All those riders I just listed off are going to get double long laps shortly.
You can see your Rins, Bezzecchi and Marini there going out on their slick shod bikes now, as Quartararo now tips it into the museum corner. This is turn 7.
Does this mean that Savadori could end up leading the Grand Prix here at this point if they do their double long laps?
Quite possibly.
That's
He's currently
exactly
in 14th place.
Potentially.
He's 7 seconds off the race lead at the moment. Quartararo, though, to his great credit, is scampering off at the front of this race as Bagnaia comes in for his bike change. But look at the lead that Fabio Quartararo is pulling out. It's going to be over a second already on this second lap, and Marc Marquez has got enough on his plate from his younger brother at the moment.
Yeah, that crash so costly for Pecco Bagnaia. Motegi 2022 was the last time he went through the Grand Prix weekend without scoring a single point. Here comes Alex on the inside of Marc. 73 versus 93, which has been the story of 2025 MotoGP so far, hasn't it? That was going into turn 11. So Alex then now up into second place, and Marc under big pressure here from Aldeguer. Yeah, there's Quartararo then. He's already in for the first of his 2 long laps. He'll sweep back out on the circuit just in front of that trio of KTMs. So of all of the riders with the double long laps, Quartararo is the first to take his punishment.
It's going to be difficult to follow this, isn't it? Working out which rider have taken 1 long lap, which have taken 2, and which haven't taken any.
You picked a good one to join us, Bradley, because we need a third set of eyes in the commentary box here today, just to keep abreast of what is happening. So Quartararo then, having served the first of his 2 long laps. Still away to...
That's Marc Marquez, however, lapping Bagnaia
yes,
here.
Bagnaia.
That's what's happening. Pecco Bagnaia trying to stay out of the way, having made a bike change after a crash, and wisely just making sure he tries not to get into the way of the leaders.
Oh, there's a touch there as well between Marc and Aldeguer had contact there. That was almost Marc's front tyre washed out going through turn 7. We saw how aggressive Aldeguer was going through 7. Alex Marquez, Fernando Aldeguer and Vinales, I think it is, who've come through the long lap penalty. So Marquez still staying out there, Quartararo also. And now, to just throw it into mix as well, the rain's getting heavier again.
Well, Marc Marquez looked like he lost the front on the way into turn. I don't know whether he was planning to go at the long lap penalty loop, but he ended up missing it because he had to go around the corner. Quartararo, who remember has got a long lap in hand here over Marc Marquez, is right behind him again.
Oh, Quartararo.
And Binder.
Quartararo and Binder have gone down the final corner. Well, this is just one of the most dramatic Grand Prix we've seen so far. Quartararo has crashed down the final corner. Marquez in for the first of his double long lap penalties. He's immediately followed by Alex Aldeguer as well. Vinales and Acosta. All hell has broken loose here, hasn't it, in Le Mans. Fabio Quartararo, you could have heard the groans in Paris, you'd have heard the groans in Marseille after he crashed out of that final corner. Oh, Vinales.
Acosta in again.
Vinales, Acosta and Vinales.
Jack Miller's going to be leading this race in a couple of laps. If all of these riders have to come up pit lane again for a second change. We're watching Jack Miller's sector times to see how far behind the race leader he is. Marc Marquez has just done a 1:41.8 on his slicks. He's on now already on that lap with the long lap. He's still going 7 seconds lap slower than he was a couple laps ago.
Oh, and Alex is getting in hot there.
Yeah, he's missed the penalty loop.
I think Alex has already maybe served his 2, has he? Yeah, Alex Marquez has done his 2 long laps. He's inadvertently done a third there. He didn't want to be in there. Maybe his eye line was just caught by Mark ahead of him.
So Fermin Aldeguer now leads the French Grand Prix incredibly through all of the mayhem. I hope you're keeping up as well as we're trying to at home. Fermin Aldeguer trying to make an idea of where he is with his long laps. He's served 1 of them, we believe.
Yeah, double long laps have been completed by Raul Fernandez, Fabio Di Gianantonio, Alex Marquez. Bastianini's already done both of his. Yeah, Aldeguer's only done 1.
Bastianini been down for the 2nd time by the looks of it, in the last corner as well.
Final corner again.
Marquez brothers changing bikes.
How do you try and cover off or write the story of this French Grand Prix in 2025? This now leaves Fermin Aldeguer clear at the front of this Grand Prix. Mark and Alex clearly feel now it's just got too wet for slick tyres. They're back in then for rain rubber.
Aldeguer leads this race now by 12 seconds from Fabio Di Gianantonio, who's now up to 2nd place. Savadori's on the podium. Zarco's running in 5th place in this Grand Prix, ahead of Miguel Oliveira. We can't find Jack Miller. Jack Miller's also gone down at some stage around the circuit because he's way down the order. That's the Binder crash coming through turn 2. Aldeguer now in for his bike change, which will promote, unless he comes in, Di Gianantonio to the race lead.
Nasty one that for Binder going through that high-speed turn 2. Aldeguer then back in to complete the, change bikes now, isn't he? You can just see there in the background, was that Rins and Quartararo frustratingly walking up pit lane?
So the leading rider now on the wet tyres, and which will certainly please the 100,000 French fans here, is Johann Zarco. He is your first rider on track on wet weather tyres. He is 4 seconds ahead of Miguel Oliveira, who in turn is 5 seconds ahead of Marc Marquez. In all probability, Johann Zarco is your French Grand Prix leader right now.
As always, for the 2nd time, you can vote at home for your rider of the race. It might be a case of who's left in this Grand Prix at the end of it. Marquez then has got through. Marc through on Oliveira. That was, we saw Oliveira, he was wide coming through La Chapelle. So now there is Marc Marquez. Out he goes of Garage Vert. Oliveira's going to get pushed off the podium. Well, right now, that was coming. As Bradley just said, he's suffering on that medium rear rain tyre. That
cost Marc Marquez a bit of time, though, having to navigate around Miguel Oliveira, who was struggling. That lead has grown now for Johann Zarco as they come through the 3rd sector. Here is the Frenchman. His lead is now up to 8.6 seconds over Marc Marquez. He's pulled out a further half second on this current lap.
10.4 seconds he is now clear of Marc in 2nd place, who's just holding that gap around 2.5 seconds back to his brother Alex. On board with Viñales. Over the line he goes with a career-long foe, Miguel Oliveira. These two have been locking horns together since their pre-Grand Prix days back in the feeder system in Spain, as Viñales coming from a long way back there. Through he goes on Oliveira, so that now will push Viñales back up into P5 once again. He took the checker flag in the sprint yesterday in 5th place as they go side by side down through La Chapelle. Viñales just has the upper hand through 6. Fair play to Zarco. That last lap was still a mid 146, a 146.502, which was a second quicker than Alex in 3rd place. The thick end of a second as well, clear of Marc in 2nd. This is a replay of the race start with Fabio Quartararo on that pole position.
Alex
Marquez has crashed out. Alex Marquez then. Alex Marquez, well, he had a crash in the rain conditions this morning at the Dunlop chicane in the warm-up session. And Alex Marquez then makes his first big mistake of 2025.
The rear.
Oh, the rear. Bradley, talk us through that.
That's engine brake, so that's just flicking it into the corner. Like I said, it could be that with this rain, just the temperatures coming out the side of it, but there's nothing really you can do. You're a passenger at that point. It just comes around and you have to just pray that it comes back.
And that's put Acosta now on the podium places, hasn't it?
Here is Acosta then in 3rd place. He's not got that podium secured yet, though. Aldeguer is catching him at over a second a lap. He took 1.2 seconds out of Acosta on that last lap. Gap down to 5 seconds. And already through the 1st sector on this lap, through the first half of the lap, actually, he's taken another 3/10. Acosta's not got this 3rd place secure yet. As Alex Marquez, we understand, has crashed for a 2nd time, which might take him out of that 6th place. We understand it has. Turn 11 this time. That's the S Blur. And this time, Alex Marquez is out of this Grand Prix. Yeah, Aldeguer doesn't need to rush this. The rate at which he's caught Pedro Acosta, he can just pick his moment. The rear coming round there on Acosta as he flicks it left down towards the right of La Chapelle. And Fabien Aldeguer crawling all over the back of Acosta. You can see he's able to hold it so much tighter than that KTM, and he just drives past him on the way out of turn 6.
Yeah, that was taking candy off a baby, wasn't it, as far as Aldeguer was concerned. So he then moves back up into the podium places. Is there a double podium here in France for Fabien Aldeguer? What a weekend it would be for the number 54. We are on the last lap of this French Grand Prix. There are 4.19 kilometres standing between Johann Zarco and a moment of history. What an achievement this would be for Johann Zarco. 1954, you just saw there on your screens, Pierre Monneray, all the way back in 1954, the last French winner of a MotoGP race in France. He has ridden perfectly, he has been faultless, he has been flawless, and is he about to win here in France? They can barely watch, can they?
Tears
in the LCR Honda garage. The tears are flowing already inside Lucio Cecchinello's box. He comes out of turn 10. Cal Crutchlow, Alex Rins, LCR Honda winners in MotoGP, but this one will have that extra special taste. There's Johann Zarco then now, into turn 12 he goes, on course to be the first French rider in 71 years to win his home Grand Prix MotoGP. The fans are making incredible noise here. He's going to get a rapturous reception. The French fans are on their feet. He knows he's done it. It is C'est Magnifique. It is Vive la France from Johann Zarco. He wins the French Grand Prix for the first time in over 7 decades. The French fans celebrate a homegrown winner in the Premier class. What a noise, what an atmosphere here it is in Le Mans as Zarco wins this home Grand Prix. Marc Marquez and another postcode back, nearly 20 seconds behind Zarco at the checkered flag. Great job by Marc though, in really testing conditions. And what about Fabien Aldeguer? Careful, he crashed after the sprint yesterday, didn't he? And when he ran into the back of Marc Marquez, that was close. Well,
so Johann Zarco rides home to a memorable home victory ahead of Marc Marquez, with Fabien Aldeguer pinching the last podium place off of Pedro Acosta late on. Maverick Vinales comes home in 5th, Taki Nakagami is in 6th place ahead of Raul Fernandez. Gian Antonio Savadori and Ayagura complete the top 10.